So, what is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another zombies video on the channel, back with another Q&A where we take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. If you can or cannot tell on audio, I don't know how it's going to come out, but my voice is super sore right now, so hopefully it's not too annoying for you guys to listen to, and I'm not going to be able to talk as loud as I usually would. That's probably a good thing, but as always, hopefully you enjoy the video. Whenever you're ready, let's get into it. Here we go. So the first question of today from Golden Zombie says, "Hey BOA, who is stronger, the Shadow Man or Dr. Monty?" Now of course this is all going to be in my opinion. We haven't actually seen the Shadow Man and Dr. Monty fight. They haven't battled it out. But from what we've seen, it does look like Dr. Monty is stronger. We've been told by him that he's this big, all-powerful god, whereas the Shadow Man is an apothecary, granted he's the leader of them. Plus, we've already seen Primis defeat the Shadow Man in Revelations, and in fact in Shadows of Evil, those characters kind of did it there as well, where they trapped him inside of the summoning key. That definitely wasn't too difficult. The battle against him in Revelations was a little bit harder, but like I said, we haven't seen Dr. Monty fight all throughout our zombie storyline, considering he has his powers, considering who he says he is. Apart from move a few perk machines, the Pack-a-Punch, make some weapons appear on walls, he hasn't actually taken part in any fights, which is strange because even when the Apothecans invaded his perfect universe, even then, Dr. Monty didn't do anything. He left it down to the Primis characters. You would think if he is a god, he could, I don't know, click his fingers or do something, use one of his powers to defeat them, but he didn't. Maybe this was because he didn't want to show Primis how strong he truly was, or what he could actually do, or maybe he didn't want to show us his true form, because as we know, Dr. Monty is actually evil, but of course at the time, we didn't know that. So I don't believe we've seen anything near his full capabilities of what he can do, but yeah, surely he's got to be stronger than the Shadow Man. We know at one point, in fact, in the very beginning, him and Dr. Monty were the only two beings to exist. They were living alongside the Ether and the Keepers. That was until the Shadow Man became corrupted by the Dark Ether and turned evil. So possibly at one point in time they were both of equal power, and somewhere down the line Dr. Monty changed. But yeah, I do find it strange how we've never actually seen any of Monty's powers. Like I said, besides from the basic things, he hasn't done anything. But I still think he's the stronger of the two. If they were to have a fight, Dr. Monty would win. And as we know in DLC 4, when we go back to the Great War and we have to fight Dr. Monty, I think the battle against him is going to be a lot more difficult than it was with the Shadow Man. And that also makes me wonder, how exactly is that going to go down? If we've got Dr. Monty who's evil and the Shadow Man who's evil, and we know at this current point in time the Shadow Man does still exist, however he is trapped inside of the summoning key. If he escapes, which one are we supposed to kill? Him? Monty? Both of them? Maybe the Shadow Man will help us? I don't know. But to answer your question, who is stronger? Personally, I think it's Monty, but let me know your ideas in the comment section below. The next question, which again is a little bit more personal, it's an opinion, but you say, "Hey BOA, do you think Who's Who is a good perk?" So first off, if you don't know, Who's Who was a perk that you could get on Die Rise. Black Ops 2 seems to be the king of weird perks. We also had Tombstone and things like Vulture Aid. It was definitely an interesting year for perks, but Who's Who would cost you 2,000 points. It looks like this. Again, very strange. But what it would do would allow you to revive yourself after being downed. But instead of working like Quick Revive, where you would go down and then a few seconds later you would automatically be revived, however you would lose your perks or your third weapon. Well, with this perk, when you go down, you actually control a doppelganger of yourself, and then you have to find your downed body on the map and revive yourself. You can also use your doppelganger to revive other people, but once you've done this, what was different and useful about this perk is it will allow you to keep all of your perks and equipment, weapons that you had before you went down. So like I said, it's similar to Quick Revive. However, with that you would get an automatic revive, but you would lose your perks and third weapon once you got up. Whereas with Who's Who, when you go down, you control a doppelganger ghost version of yourself. You have to find your down body on the map, revive yourself, but when you do, you keep everything that you had before you went down. However, you may be thinking, Eli, that sounds way better than quick revive. Well, the catch is, if you don't manage to revive your down body in time before they bleed out, you will then become the doppelganger, but you will lose all of your perks and weapons, just leaving you with the M1911. So yeah, I actually thought it was a really interesting perk. I do think it's better than quick revive. That's the closest one that it compares to. I suppose you could also ask the question about tombstone on transits. I think that was very similar as well, but that's for a different question. Again, let me know your thoughts on this perk in the comment section below. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Would you like it to return? The next question from Cameron says, what happened after Revelations to Maxis and Sophia? Also, what did Monty do with the children? So of course we know after Revelations, that is when the cycle resets. We go back to the Great War. With Primis, the cycle continues all the way to the end, all of the way to Revelations, where it ends, it resets, and it keeps going over and over again. So what truly happens after Revelations, we don't know. In fact, I'm not too sure if we ever will, because our storyline doesn't go past there. So for the Primis characters, we'll never know their story after. However, in the director's cut trailer for Revelations, we do get to see a couple of events that take place pretty much straight away or not too long after we defeat the Shadow Man. We see a few things happen that we never actually saw in game or in the ending cutscene, and these are very interesting. So first off, if we go back to the Revelations ending, we never actually saw Richtof and Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey drink the blood vials. When we go to that cutscene, we can see they are already empty. The characters have already drank the blood. We didn't know when they did this or where, but in this director's cut trailer, we get to see, just after the characters have defeated the Apothicons, Richtof and Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey all regroup and drink the blood. Obviously, this takes place just before the ending cutscene, just before they meet up with Monty, so that's interesting because we never actually saw them drink the blood. But then on the next scene in this trailer, we see Dr. Monty in the basement, kind of cornering the children. He has Richtof and Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey in this room. We can see as Dr. Monty walks up to the children, they kind of like back up as if they're kind of scared, cowering, or not sure what he's going to do. And we know this part takes place after Revelations, because again, the camera then cuts to Samantha looking out of the window, and outside in space is the summoning key. And we know this happened right at the end when Maxis and Sophia sacrificed themselves to save Dr. Monty's universe. We know Maxis, who was inside of the summoning key, along with Sophia, who was a robot, used their powers to rid of the Apothicons. And from then on, we didn't know what happened to them, but as we can see in this trailer, Maxis inside of the key is now just floating around in space. So that also tells us what happened to him after Revelations. He is now stuck in space inside of the key. But what I'm interested in is if we just go back to when Monty has the children in the basement. This is interesting because this shows us, or it's showing us, he's clearly about to do something to the children after Revelations. The Primis characters aren't here. Dr. Monty has got them on their own. Maxis isn't here, it's just him and them. And he has them in the basement, and it looks like he's cornering them, kind of like he's pushing them back up against the wall. And if you look at them, it looks like they're scared. We're not 100% sure at exactly which point in time this happens. It's clearly after Revelations finishes, because we've just seen our characters drinking the blood, and Maxis is in space inside of the key. So this happens after Revelations ends. But is this just before Monty reset the cycle and sent the Primis characters back to the Great War? Or is it after? We can't tell. But it does have me wondering, what exactly is Monty about to do to the children? Because we still don't know the reason as to why Dr. Monty wanted them. Why did he want the kids in the first place? Yes, he told us that it was to create a perfect world where all of the characters could live together, but we know he was lying. He wasn't telling the truth. That clearly wasn't his actual plan. We know that Dr. Monty is evil, so what was his actual reasoning for wanting the children, and what was he going to do with them after Primis was gone? I think just before this scene ends, we were about to see what he was going to do. I mean, clearly by their body language, the fact that he has them all down here alone, I don't think it was something good. So yeah, actually that's very interesting. We do kind of get to see what happens after Revelations, or see a glimpse of Monty alone with the children. We also see the characters drinking the blood, and we find out what happened to Maxis after Revelations. We can see he is now stuck in space. So anyway guys, there we go. That is it for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, drop a like rating, that would be much appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.